G'day guys, it's Jimmy Hack channel. Today I want to take this engine a little bit further than last time. We went to 122 degrees. I'll try and push it a bit harder. I'm going to try and get it to about 130. See if we lose the radiator cap, if that depressures the system. Let's have a look at some vital statistics. So we're looking at the temperature gauge on the top here. That is the instrument cluster temperature that the driver's seeing. The real temperature is the second one down. It's the cylinder head temperature. There usually is a difference between these two. Most manufacturers don't report the real temperature. They just report a very, let's just say it's a very flattened out temperature, just so that you don't get alarmed by, you know, subtle changes in the needle. So usually the needle on the instrument cluster will sit on about the N, or around N and O, depending on how well yours is being calibrated. So we'll keep an eye on that. We're also going to keep an eye on the intake air temperature. We've got the transmission temperature, which isn't running through the radiator now. I've got a bypass on that. We've got the ignition timing, short-term fuel trims, revs, of course, map sensor, knock. So we're going to have a look at that as we progress up to about 130 degrees. Let's go and have a look under the engine bay. Alright, so here we are. We don't have any fans on this one. I've got a bypass attached to the transmission, so that shouldn't get too much hotter. Water in here is okay, it's just fresh water, there's no coolant. We're about 3/4 full. Put that cap on there, so this will start to get hot pretty soon. Alright, that's ready to go. Let's play with this AU Fairmont. Alright, as you can see, we're still on the N. Temperature here is 91 degrees on the instrument cluster, 92 on the engine. So basically what you'll see is that 92 it won't change much. It'll be about 92, 93, that top one, and that should stay about the same on the instrument cluster. But what you'll see is the second one, which is the cylinder head temperature. This is what the computer's seeing, and it'll make calibration changes to fuel, timing, anything like that, on its way up to about 130. I'd like to get to 130 degrees and just see what it's capable of. Alright, so stay tuned. Alright, so at the moment we're sitting on 98 degrees, that's the cylinder head temperature. Instrument cluster is still the same, it's sitting on about that N. See that, right on the N. It won't be till it gets to about 108 where you'll start to see that shift. So these instrument temperature gauges are very, very heavily dampened. You generally won't see any movement between 92 and 108. It'll just stay there and look like it's just normal. Alright, we've just hit 100 degrees. I've just had the recorder on pause there for a couple of minutes waiting for the temperature to build up. We're maintaining about 1400 to 1500 revs. Current temperature, as you can see at the head, back of the head's 106 degrees, and the instrument cluster is still reading 92. So that's where it is, roughly on that N still, between the N and the O. More likely on the right on the edge of that N. So once it gets to about 108, we should start to see that needle start to move on the cluster there. Getting pretty close. Alright, we've just hit 109 degrees. The instrument cluster is going to start moving now. Okay, we're just coming up to the bottom edge of the O. And this is what I was saying in the previous videos. Don't rely on that needle. You won't be able to tell anything between 92 and 108. It'll read exactly the same. Alright, we're at 110 now. Alright, so the needle is basically straight up and down, just past that R. And according to the instrument cluster, that's 101 degrees. But the real temperature of the engine is actually 112, so it's 10 degrees behind. You know, don't want to alarm the driver that the engine's getting hot. Alright, so we're just coming up to the L on the instrument cluster. According to this, that's saying that's around 112 degrees. The real temperature of the engine at the head, back of the head, is 118 degrees. Apparently these AUs are supposed to shut down cylinders when they get to really, really high temperatures. I don't know where that is. That could be at 130, could be at 140, who knows. But I'm starting to see a bit of that steam look coming off the engine just looking out. Here we go. Temperature gauge has just come on, so that means we're at 120 degrees. So that's correct. And that's usually what the red line is, it's 120 degrees. So we're at 120 degrees and I can see it's boiling underneath that coolant there. It's all boiling away, nice and hot. I better get out the road. current temperature here is 123, and on the gauge we're right just about off the scale of the red. That's 123. Interesting to see if we start losing coolant out of that overflow. Alright guys, I'm not going to go any longer here. I'm just going to shut it down. We're approaching 127 and it still hasn't let the thermostat go there. Sorry, the cap. Hang on. We've got a bit of activity. It's starting to go. Yep, we've got steam coming out the back, so that's obviously pushing the air out or the water out. So she's about to let go. Just going to shut it down. We're 128 degrees. Here comes the smoke. Alright, yep, she is pissing out. Just press play back on here. Current temperature, 128 degrees. We've got some boiling happening there, guys. A bit of boiling action. We got the kettle on. Anyway, that's a good little test, just to see what these things are capable of before they start blowing its load. Alright guys, there you go. Till next time.